High vibrations, sweet babies. It's been a while since I've recorded, so it feels like I've been a while since I've connected with you, although you probably have heard my voice recently. I had a bunch of pre-recorded readings that I have been sharing throughout my time on tour. And I had a little bit of change of tour plans. One of my stops in New York was rescheduled. So I am home. I am taking a little break between my travels. I am catching up on rest. I am catching up with friends, catching up with laundry. Definitely just doing some things, some maintenance things to make sure that I get back to tour and finish out this next month. Woo, yes, with a lot of passion, purpose, and playfulness. I want to start off this reading. I feel like 17 and 77 are significant. I'm going to look more into the numerology for 77 before I share this, so you can go ahead and look for that description in the description. But I definitely am feeling like you are on the right path at the current present. You're very much understanding that, like, you have to, infinity symbol, infinite potential. You have to connect with your purpose. Not just because you're like some special sacred child of the universe who was given no. You need to connect with your purpose because that's the only way that you feel happy. That's the only way you feel grounded. It's the only way you feel stable, is when you're really tapping into your infinite potential and tapping into what feels like a divine path for yourself. These cards are a little there's a lot of humidity in the air, so I feel like they're not shuffling quite as well. So I hope that they didn't get damp. I feel like there's some, maybe this is very random, prominent energy that just showed up, that you might be healing some parental wounds. You might be actually healing father wounds. This might be, yes, son, exactly. This might be so that you can experience more joy in your life. I feel like this is really going to be a healing time for you around the idea of men. This is very interesting thing that's coming through. No matter how you identify here, I see this just being the case for us collective. This is just really interesting, actually. Yes, infinity sign again, heart space. This is for sure a heart space endeavor. In order for you, please excuse the sounds of my car. She is very vocal. She's very communicative. And, it's actually interesting because I just got kicked out from the park that I usually sit at to read. I don't love pulling cards here in this area because I really like to look at nature, and I really like to get symbols from what I'm seeing in, oh my god, this truck just pulled up so fucking close to turn around to me. Oh, I thought they were gonna hit me. That was crazy. Anywhoosies. What was I just saying? My goodness. I really thought the back of my car was about to get swung right into. I'm here at this park. As far as places to sit and pull up in your park, there's just not much to look at. I live in a very beautiful area. There's a lot of places that I could just pull up my car and I'm looking at a fucking incredible view, and I'm very grateful and appreciative of that because that's something that's very valuable and I want to take notice. However, this is a really beautiful park. It has a lot of emotions attached to it for me. I don't usually like to shuffle from places that I'm feeling like high emotions or are attached to high emotional things, memories, because I feel that it might affect my reading. But nah, I don't really excuse me. I don't really feel that right now. I got kicked out of my other park because apparently now you need a season pass to park there and stare at the water, and which is what I would be doing. And the security guard like pulls up like in a car that looks like it does not belong to a security guard, but hey, okay, whatever. Smoking a cigarette. He was just a funny character, to be honest with you. And he's like, yeah, kiddo, you need a season pass. You can sit here for a few minutes. And I'm like, well, I got to shuffle for my homies, so it's going to be more than a few minutes. I'm going to have to relocate. So this was the next closest option. I wanted to just do this reading before I get on with my day. It's one of my random few days off here that I wasn't expecting to have, so this is where the energy brought me. And for some reason, just that encounter in itself, it's just like when men genuinely see you as just this stupid little kid. There's almost something healing about that, I think, for us collective in where we're at. Okay, hang in here with me, right? For where we're at in this current moment. We, as people, get triggered by things only because of the emotional attachment we have to them. Because in some way we attach meaning, we attach emotion, we attach a story, we attach a belief, we attach whatever to a thing. And when we master the art of detachment, right, the art of letting go, and yes, and I think this is something that we collective have had to navigate maybe throughout our lives, right? But in the recent moments when you're finding this reading and when this reading is finding its way to you, this is something I feel like developing a whole new relationship. Yes, a whole new relationship too. So this art of letting go is asking you to now detach so much emotion, so much meaning, so much power to certain things, because it's taking away from your joy. It's taking away from your bliss and how deeply you can really feel into things without bumping into your ego, your memory, your past, your pain points, right? And I see this just being really healing for your heart space and opening you up to more love, joy, and connection, because you are going to be in a place of, instead of being triggered by things that feel, just going back to this thing that kind of like brought up the memory or this idea was, not a memory. The idea was just for someone to actually like see you and recognize you as just a goofy, silly, whimsical little kid sometimes. Like even in your grown adulthood, there are still going to be people, figures in your life who just see you this way. And it's just like, these can be mentors. These can just be random elder figures in your community, like just random places where you're developing a new relationship to this idea of someone being older than you, giving you ideas, telling you what to do, giving you instruction, and you being able to receive that, not from a place of, let's just be honest, immaturity. It's very interesting, because to me it seems like you wanted in your immaturity to feel like you were being treated as an adult, to be treated like you were wise, to be treated like you knew shit, to be treated like an equal almost. And now in your adulthood, you have the wisdom and the maturity to realize that there's a lot of shit you don't know. That there's actually a lot of people who could probably really teach you things and that you could look up to. And instead of wanting to not be talked down to or worried about being seen as equal or whatever, you almost feel grateful when they talk to you in this way, because you're like, yes, like, there are things I want to learn from you. There are things I want to know. And there are, so on and so forth. And in this way, I think this has a lot to do with father wounds and father healing. The other reason I don't like this park is because it can be kind of active. So if I get distracted by people, pardon me. It's hard to shuffle like this too. Okay. So yeah, I think there is something ending. I do also feel like somebody's just like wanting to be interested in what I'm doing at this current moment, and this energy and this reading is not for them. I mean, it could be for them, but it's not what I'm trying to focus in on right now. People also think that their tinted windows make them invisible, but it doesn't, and it's so stupid to me. Like, I have really good eyesight, so I can see through people's tinted windows, and they think that they are like literally behind some kind of like invisibility field. It's so stupid. Okay, anyway, I'm gonna end up reading for this person in the truck next to me. I don't want to do that. So, yeah, I think the reason why this is actually, I'm getting back to the energy now. The reason why this is actually really healing for you in this current moment is because this actually has played a lot in your relationships and your dynamics, more than you thought it did, more than you thought it would, because air sign, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius might be significant. Let's see. Okay. Come on. This might have something to do with bad finances, addictions, gambling. You might not have actually known how much all of these things played a part in who you are, who you were, how you acted. And I think you're starting to realize now, like, maybe what the cost is and what's really at stake if this were to go on. There's something about a conversation or something being confessed, a need to communicate, forgive. There's something about working things out and compromising, but okay, so something about, you might be reminiscing something regarding intuition, something about red flags, being able to notice red flags, being able to notice your intuition, to listen to what your body is telling you. I feel like all of this stuff is kind of being brought back to this kind of work that you're working through right now, or this wound that you're tending to right now. You might need to have a conversation with somebody about this. This could be a conversation with an earth sign. This might be significant for you to speak about or talk about. But I do see that you're reminiscing on something revolving a fire sign, an Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, or this could be involving something from one of these seasons. Let's see if more clarity wants to come out around that. There's just a lot of energy here around bad finances and you being very opportunistic and thinking that you're in it for the right reasons because, it's almost like when we give little girls like the bad advice to like, find a man who can offer you like all the things, all like make sure he can give you, he wants to pay for this and he wants to pay for that and he treats you like this and he treats you like that. It's like this very spoiled mentality when lo and behold, like what really matters is maybe like how somebody is talking to you or the way that they handle problems and conflict, like other things besides the material. And I think, yes, like somebody having it materially all together is obviously very important, especially like, I don't know, at the age that you're at and the maturity that you're at, it's important for you to have all those things together. But you're also realizing that like just because someone has those things doesn't mean that they're able to really be deeply intimate and connected to you. They're not necessarily somebody who knows how, it is active over here. They're not necessarily somebody who knows how to like wine and dine or even necessarily appreciate being wined and dined. And those are things that you are starting to value more and more in your life. Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces might be significant here. I'm seeing that there's something about somebody just kind of recognizing that there was a lot of things that might have been considered a waste of time. Recognizing that something's unavailable at the moment and that it's over now. Because of being sneaky and deceptive, or being even just emotionally distant. This might have been because they were trying to guard their hearts or be cautious, but really and truly, it just seems like the emotional unavailability really did quite a bit of damage. I'm going to give it one more shuffle and see if anything else wants to come out. Yeah, I'm seeing something about letting go. Because even there's something really interesting about this energy because it's really beautiful. I feel like there's a lot of like lessons that were learned from this and cycles that were broken. However, at the same time, it's like now that you're at a distance from this situation, you're realizing like there was also just something that was like very unavailable to you. And this might actually have had to do a lot with like just abundance, stability, comfort. Yes, somebody being able to like just, the quote that keeps coming to mind is like, I'm like just beautiful homes and people like this and no doors being slammed. And that's just kind of the energy. It just feels like you had something that kind of, I don't know. There was a lot that was learned. There was a lot that you can see from that. I think it brought a lot of realizations to cycles that need to be ended, especially regarding father wounds. And now you're kind of like, holy shit, wait a second. There's actually like still a lot of like really beautiful things that was lacking as well. Someone not being able to see themselves for really who they are is probably a big component to that. Someone not being able to look in the mirror and take ownership of things, or maybe like the way that they look at themselves in the mirror is very telling about who they are and how much healing they have to do. Okay, I'm going to pull a few more clarifiers and then I'm going to biggity bounce because I don't fucks with how much energy is around at the current present in this park. Things need to be addressed. So again, it's just this feeling of like there might be a conversation that needs to be had. Pisces came out again. Mental health is significant. Earth, by any means necessary. 333, yes. About intuition. Something is interesting about the intuition. Capricorn, Virgo. So we did have earth signs that were showing up here multiple times, and we also had Pisces showing up here multiple times. Pisces season might be significant. You may have met a karmic feminine at this time. Yeah, things need to be addressed. You can't change who people are without changing what they were. So you definitely had an experience, I think, that showed you how important intuition is, or how intuition is actually like a very protective, beautiful thing. It's something that you want to be connected to, but you're realizing now just how in your life that's been a little bit inaccessible to you, or you struggled with feeling the safety to tap into your intuition and listen to your internal guidance system. This might be something revolving father wounds. I feel like you're opening yourself up now by healing that to more connection, more intimacy, more feelings of safety. But you also recognize that like you just need to be in the right kind of place in order to do that. Yeah, you just like need to be in the right kind of connections in order to feel that happen. That is so funny. This guy that was in the truck literally just got out and walked to the porta potty. Maybe that's where that bad energy was coming from. Homie needed to drop a deuce. It's all right, man. As my mom always used to say, hey, everybody poops. Everybody poops. You didn't think that's where this reading was about to go. Gotta love it. Got to love it. Honestly, though, I do feel like there is something about, yeah, like I said, right here at the bottom of the deck, it says, let go, make room for more. And there's something about just like detoxing, flushing things out of your body, letting things go out of your gut might be significant here. If you're doing any kind of trauma healing at the moment, your gut may be responding to that. You may want to do some gut health things like probiotics, eating yogurts, like eating healthy gut flora like kombuchas and other pickled things. So just take care of your gut right now while you're going through that healing, because a lot of us, we store specific trauma in the gut, and it might be helpful to flush those things out of your system. But not only that, that's also where it becomes tricky to navigate our intuition and our gut instincts, our gut feelings. So make sure you're really being mindful and taking care of your gut health at the moment. It feels like, your body, your nervous system, in particular your gut, is activated and having a lot of trouble feeling safe in connections. And in order to really process that, here lies the answer within your father wounds. Hey, listen, we all have them. Nobody is above father wounding. Like, you can, and this is actually interesting because I feel like for myself, but also for maybe other people in this collective, very much so, as I talked to people recently, there's this element of like, oh, broken home was a conversation. Oh, a car just drove by covered in cherry blossom petals. That's so cute. They must park under a cherry blossom. Anyway, so cherry blossoms may be significant. Dandelions also may be significant. My last thought. What was my last thought? Literally, what was I just saying? Okay, 5:55. So, I'm back. I'm regrouped. Our collective, listen, we might carry this story that we have like daddy issue baggage, father wounding baggage. We might carry that belief about ourselves that we are less than. For some reason, I'm hearing like the sins of our father. It's so interesting, like the sins of our father, but like we are not, ooh, wow. Like there's even this feeling sometimes of like bastardization, like this weird feeling around father stuff. Baby, no. Baby, no. You are beautiful. You are magnificent, you are loved, you are cherished, and you deserve to feel all of those things from within yourself and from with others. There is something going on here about this idea of like you projecting that you come from a broken home and not even allowing others to get to experience all of your gifts, all of your beauty, because you fear that you are too broken, that you have too much baggage, you have too many wounds, you have too many things that other people in these so-called, right, like perfect homes don't understand and can never understand. But what I'm actually feeling into, friends, actually is this idea of I'm relocating because I really am so annoyed with this fucking toilet man. Toilet man. Toilet man. I literally don't feel afraid of anybody, because if you just annoy me or make me feel uncomfortable, I'm gonna start calling you toilet man and singing about it. We're gonna take a ride. Yes, so back to what I was saying. I really think you're starting to maybe drop down this guard, drop down this wall, this very protected mindset that I think you developed in order to just keep yourself safe, to just protect your psyche of this idea, of people not understanding you or judging you because of something going on within the family system. It feels like masculine. It feels like father wounds. Now, this might have worked. This might have been something that helped you cope, all right? But ultimately, what I'm really seeing is that it actually kept you at more of a disconnect, because you created this idea of separation between you and other people who had family around them that looked different than yours. Now, this isn't to say that your situation wasn't difficult, or maybe even more particularly difficult than other people have to experience or go through. And in a lot of ways, you might just be envious. You might really just be projecting a lot of envy onto other people about their situation. I think you're going to have a lot of deja vu about things that you like literally forgot that you experienced. That's something else that's coming through, is like you are literally going to have vivid, and I mean vivid, flashbacks of things that maybe you weren't even necessarily intentionally suppressing, because they're actually beautiful and they're actually really powerful, but there's something about the fact that they're so beautiful, high vibrational, like very light memories that you actually had to disassociate from because of something else going on internally, something else that you were dealing with on a personal, internal level. And so in order to almost minimize how beautiful, sacred, and fantastic something was, you actually suppressed good memories and actually like minimized experiences in your own mind to protect you. Again, this is like a thing I'm sensing right now. Like this was all out of, sorry, headphone users. This was all out of you feeling like you needed to protect yourself. Protect yourself from what? I do not know. Maybe you know the answer to that. But it seems like you just developed these coping mechanisms, these mentalities of trying to almost keep yourself from connecting or attaching to things that are really beautiful or really good or really amazing memories. There might be something involving a bridge. Yeah. I feel like you also... I have to sneeze, hold on. Whew, that one's been brewing for some hours. Okay, anyways. You also developed this coping mechanism by, in your mind, thinking that you're separate, you're different, you had a more challenging experience than other people, because if they had some kind of family dynamic that looked different than yours, then it just must have been better. It just must have been, they had more chances, more opportunities, more resources, whatever it is in your mind. Sorry for the sniffles. But now, in your ripe age, in your maturity, you're realizing for a lot of people that just because their dynamic on the surface looked different than yours does not mean that it didn't come without their own set of challenges, their own types of issues. And you're going to realize that this idea of the sins of our father, right? Whatever weird, I don't even know where that comes from. There's probably a whole quote. It's probably like a movie I need to watch, because that's what people always tell me about my readings. They're like, oh, that's from that movie. And I'm like, well, I've never seen that movie, so you're going to have to put me on, because what am I even talking about? I'm getting a lot of movie recommendations, song recommendations. One song that's been stuck in my head all morning, like literally since before I even opened my eyes, was this song that someone showed me, and it was la 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 la, living our lives, la 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 la. So yeah, I don't know, it's just something like we all have these lives that look like one thing, and then there's just so much more to them. And if we continue to put this idea in our head that we're less than because of the way that our family systems and dynamics looked, we are going to perpetually be in a place of disconnect and separation and feeling as though we can't be understood, or we can't be valued, or we can't be safe even in connection with others. There's this feeling of people don't stay. There's this feeling of maybe not being able to depend on other people. There's this feeling of people not caring about you as much as you care about them, or something around those lines. Oh, look, it's the toilet man. Toilet man! I just drove by. Anywhoosies. you're just getting a more bird's eye perspective, a hawk eye perspective, hawk medicine of being able to see the full picture of people's lives and understanding like that might have affected the way they look at these things or the way they act in this situation or the reason why they think about things like this, you know, and you might have attributed a lot of your negative qualities to your maybe family system or to your father wounding or to something relating to that, right? But now you're realizing like, you know, those things might be true, but other people, like if you had a different life, if you had a different family dynamic, you would still have negative traits and negative qualities. It would just have come from a different source. It would just have come from a different place. And in the same hand, on the same coin, right? On the other side of that coin, you also learned a lot of things. You also were given a lot of mindsets and skills and ways of adapting to just be able to almost have an appreciation for the reason that you are the way that you are and think about things the way that you think about things. So with that being said, healing through this, working through this is really ultimately going to bring you closer to people. And I think it's also going to be a deep self-acceptance and self-worth journey, because while it's all fine and dandy to be like, hey, like, okay, these people, they have a great family system and they see me, they value me and accept me, I should be able to do the same thing for myself, right? Like, I don't have to be destined and doomed to always be dealing with like interpersonal conflict or whatever. Like, I can have that sort of stable foundation and so on and so forth. I think it's also going to shed light or be easy for you to have the awareness of people who are a little sheltered, and who maybe are judgmental of where people come from and their background. And I think it's going to be important for you to not get triggered by this. And there's like a knee-jerk reaction, 1,000%, like a defensive quality that you, like, you know this now, you're finding this out, like, okay, I know that I've been defensive about this in my past. I know that I've guarded myself around this, and I know that I've kind of almost played into this as a way to protect myself, but now I'm not feeling so much like this is a wound that I have to be like almost loud and proud about. But now I'm realizing like that was a thing from my past, and if I want a different future, like I cannot be completely attached to that all of the time. And with that, when someone is judging you or when someone is separating themselves from you because of who you are, where you came from, so on and so forth, you now have this ability to be like, oh, whoa, dude, you're going to judge me based on that? You're going to tell me I'm destined to have this life because of something that happened generations before? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you are in this place of like, wow, like you're really vapid, quite frankly. You might have a couple instances with people where people might say things to you that seem critical or like criticism, or just might honestly be quite ignorant. And I think it's going to be, yes, a test to you and how you are navigating your triggers and your own stuff by how you respond. And you're going to just be able to be like, hey, dude, ouch, you know, like that was unkind. And I think people are going to actually be surprised that you're speaking to these things, or they're going to be surprised in the level of maturity in the way that you handle those things, which is exactly going to be the sort of example of their ignorance. Like, you might expect a person from this walk of life to respond loud and cussing and making a scene or whatever, but ultimately you handle it in a way that's true to your character, to your grace, to your mindset, to your belief system. in a way that they might not even know how to respond in. What can they say then? You know what I mean? Like, oh, if you had it so perfect, if you had everything so great, and, you know, they might pedestalize their parents, or there might be a silver spoon, something going on in that situation, and they're quick to make judgments, but then they can't act right. They can't respond in difficult times. You know, they might be froze, like there's something going on there, and you can handle it. You can step up. You know how to fucking put a little bass in your voice, but still be treated kindly, or treat others kindly, or treat people with dignity. You know what I mean? So you're going to be able to just be like, what was that you were saying about me? You know, what was that you were throwing shade about my upbringing? What was that you were saying about the kind of people who live like me, look like me, act like me? Go ahead, and what was that? Yeah, that's right. There's nothing you could say. Interesting energy that showed up for this reading, but I am all the way here for it, and I love your journey. I support your journey. I am holding space for your journey, baby. You have this quality to you that is strong, that is fierce, it is mighty, and it is powerful. And when I tell you that what you bring to the table deserves to be wined and motherfucking dined, honey, do not let other people ever contribute to this belief that you are less than, or that you are destined to have anything other than what you have been seeking and deserving in your heart and in your soul from, all your days, all your years. There was never a time in your life when you didn't deserve all of those things. The stability, the foundation, the needs being met, the emotional intelligence, the affection, all of these things. You deserved it 100% of your life, 100% of your time, and you are not going to go on for the rest of your days accepting that that's just not something that you can have, and accepting that that's just not for you. That's just not your path. That's just not your story. Okay, that's my reading, and I'm sending all my lovin'.